Hi, it's me again. So I wanted to do an additional video because I know that the two before this one, they were kind of like sit down and chat. So they were freebies. I talked about different things. Like the first video I talked about like babies and some other stuff, and then the second video I talked a little about my films and like what I want to do and the homework that's coming with some of these films. Now this video is more motivational because like I said, I want to keep that spirit up. Um, so I'm filming off this phone of mine. It's an iPhone 10. The other one is the iPhone 13. It's running out of storage. I get lazy with clearing out storage. So I have to clean up both phones. And then also today I wanted to record on my gimbal, but it died, and it's on me for not charging this on time. Or before. I do want to say that before I get into the motivational talk or speech or whatever for today, first, I'm recovering from having an episode of vertigo, or like a crazy episode of vertigo this morning. So there's some significant brain fog I'm working with. And then, I was trying to remember some stuff in the last video and I couldn't. So I'm going to do my best with that. And then second, I am doing a free headshot, giving out free headshot sessions or photos or photo sessions to those in Chicago that are new or graduate or are struggling financially. So you can't afford headshots. Headshots can be pretty expensive. I know that when I wanted to be an actress, I saw the price for some of these headshots and I'm like, oh my gosh. But to not make photographers the bad guy, I mean, they know what they're doing. This is what they do. That's their money, and it's fair. I get it. It's fair. That's how they do their business. But I guess there are some people that cannot afford that, especially if they're new. They're young and they're new, and those that just have been hit financially by different things, they can't afford that. They have to pay certain bills in order to keep from being evicted and all that stuff. So my session is ongoing now, and it's quickly booking up. I've had so many requests. People reach out to me, people friending me on my personal Facebook. And then I have to really organize schedules for it. And then I also have a casting call at my film platform to be a part of my art film team. What we will be doing is we will be going through unique ideas. Oh, sorry, I actually went to a funeral video on Facebook, so that was really random, sorry. But what we will be doing is we will be doing some experimental shorts. And this is all about enhancing creativity and I guess acting skills with my team, and even for my end as a filmmaker, just to enhance my skills as a filmmaker too, and what I can do and how far I can go. And so I've been able to find 3 people on board so far. I think 4 people right now. Yeah, 4 people. No, 6, because I'm counting the other 2 ladies I was talking to. So I've gotten 6 people on board, but I know they got their own schedules going on, so I have to work around that. But I know that I don't mind adding more people to that. So what we will be doing is we will be working with unique ideas. And these ideas, they're very artsy. And right now there's not a whole lot of speaking, and it's not because I actually, it is intentional, because I want to learn how to do this as a filmmaker, is to really work on conveying very deep and strong messages through my films without use of dialogue sometimes. So I like it. And the reason why I've not featured sound in my past films or dialogue is because I'm not a good sound editor. I have to find somebody who's really good at recording sound, because I've tried and I botched up a project doing that. I don't want to do that again. And so I know that I saw a film editing video where they said, you can get away with bad visuals, but with bad sound, you can't get away with that. So I thought to myself, all right, well, then I omit talking and I'm just going to be clever about how I make my films and do my best in just having us display and showcase important emotions and stories through use of, our bodies without speech. So, and then music. I love music too. Fortunately, I love music, so I try to find music that's powerful and deep for whatever I do. And so we're doing more of that. We're doing more soundless films or talking films without talking or silent films, right? And I want to feature films with talking because I have ideas, but this is what we're doing. But there are people on board, and I'm so happy. I love their responses. Their responses are amazing because what I did with I sent out these casting calls and they responded. And what I did was I asked them some deep questions in regards to their goals and what ideas they felt led by, because I listed some ideas on the casting call with the acting team. And it's cool because they're very interested in growing this team. And so, there's that. I wanted to say something else. I have more music to work on. Endless edits that I'm behind in with my platforms. And then my series, I have to edit. Okay, so I've said a little bit about that. So you can go and check it out on my personal website, all these things. You can go ahead and check out. And then you'll be led to the affiliations page. I should put in my news for my personal website. There's casting calls going on for the headshots and even for the film art team. And then I'm supposed to release more casting calls, even some that I was supposed to release before, but I didn't. And so I'm supposed to do that, especially for my Spider-Man 2099 project. I'm supposed to release casting calls for the Thorites, especially Thorite Kenneth. You'll get to know them soon. Kenneth is a tribute to Kenny in the Spider-Man 2099 comic books. And then I made up a fictional character for my fan film, who's a Thorite. Her name is Tara. They're both, so we're into Spider-Man territory, and I know that I talked about Spider-Man in the other video, and I got my little plushie here. His name is Pete's. I don't think I said his name in the last one, but this is Pete's with his little booty. I like the little butt, little spider butt. It's like a tarantula, because I learned, did you know that if you drop a tarantula from like maybe let's say knee length height, I think, they can die. A tarantula can die if you drop it. And I learned that through a video of a guy who owned spiders, right? So he owns a lot of spiders. And he talked about how it's dangerous to drop a tarantula because their little booties, their little butts, those butts they have, that's where their important organs are. Their important stuff that makes up them and their bodies. The important organs are in that butt. So if you drop it, it ruptures, and it made me feel bad. I'm like, really? Oh no. So as much as I'm scared of them, the thought of dropping a tarantula makes me sad. It's like, oh no, I gotta keep you safe, because if you drop, you die. Even though I am terrified of you, I don't want to see you. I wonder if that's true for the Goliath spiders, like giant spiders. If you drop them from a significant height, is the same thing going to happen to them, that they will die? So I had to look into that. Those are the bird eaters. Oof, they're giant. So this is Pete's, and his butt reminds me of the spiders, the tarantulas, and so. We're entering Spider-Man territory, so my Spider-Man 2099, that has actually been in my mind for 4 years, about 2 to 3 years. That the original project that I had to bring it to life, to bring the whole thing that I have in mind to life, is that's 2 to 3 years old. And I remember shooting Skyrim, my Skyrim short film, I remember 4 to 5 years ago, before that, I was thinking about it, and I thought I would never do it, and I did it. So there is a unique Spider-Man short concept. So these films that I'm going to do for Spider-Man 2099, the series, they're just concept stuff. You know, they're stuff that I just will bring my vision to life in terms of certain characters and whatever. But I did have a concept film set for Miguel and his introduction to Miguel, and it was titled Nuevo Miguel. To think I'm learning Spanish and I'm botching up. Lo siento, I'm sorry to those people I'm sorry to native speakers, Spanish speakers. I'm not great right now. Same with Japanese. Like, I have to learn Japanese because I want to move to Japan later in life. And then Spanish, I love Spanish though. I feel like it's a lot easier than Japanese. And so, but yeah, I know, well, I won't get into that, but I have an episode dedicated to Miguel, and it's a concept that is in my mind, and there's a DJ I have to reach out to. I really want to feature his music in my Spider-Man 2099 concept because his work fits my aesthetic for it, or my ideal aesthetic for it. He's a really good DJ, and he's a black guy, and he does work that it's like, I just love finding other black artists that are experimental like I am as a musician, and he seems really cool. Like, I really like his name. His name is Sansabar. So he's not a huge musician, but he's like an underground DJ, and I like his stuff. And so there's a work by him that I want to feature in this concept film, and I have ideas for it, but it might be costly, so I have to be very smart about how I do this. But for the motivational part of this video, I'm sorry I tend to ramble, is I wanted to do, okay, I'm going to use my experience this morning. So a lot of us, we may encounter things that are like very, very obliterating. Not just in terms of talking about experiencing the vertigo that I had this morning, but my season right now of just encountering the dark night of the soul. So I talk a little bit about this in my blog written for it at the time of filming. I've not released it, but I will. And in life, there's times where we will encounter moments that can feel so obliterating or soul shattering, and you lose a part of yourself. You feel like your identity is going, or gone. You feel like you're not able to function like how you were before, and maybe there's significant changes that are happening on the outside, loss of friends, opportunities, money, relationships. And so there's all these different things that can happen that can leave us in a place where we feel lost and even just shattered. But I'm telling you, I feel like with what I like about the Dark Night of the Soul, and I'm just going from what I wrote and what I read, is there can be an awakening. There can be an awakening. There can be a new phase, you can be reborn through this whole thing, and pretty much just allowing whatever's breaking you to kind of teach you. So what are some deep lessons within the period that you're in? What can it teach you about who you are? Maybe this is a chance to see how resilient you really are. You might not think that you are strong, but you are so strong you are strong, and you've gotten this far. So it's a lie to just say, I'm not strong, I'm weak. You are very, very strong. You are here. You've gotten this far. And maybe our wounds, I like to agree on this, but our wounds can be our greatest teachers, not just for ourselves, but for other people. So there are people after us that will need to learn from us in terms of knowing how to survive. Because some of us are gifted some very trying moments and periods. But the reason why I say gifted is because you don't know how much of a gift it will be for somebody in the future once you teach them how to survive whatever they go through. Without you, they would not have gone through what they're going through or will get through. But in order to get there, we must go through what we're encountering now. And it's not because we deserve it, but it's just natural. You know, there's all these different bad things that happen in life, but we just kind of learn to overcome them. And through that, we can be reborn. We can be made new through our hardship. And so I always say this, don't feel shamed for any feeling you might have. It's so important to, not put yourself in the box. I thought about something deep just now. We're talking about Spider-Man, right? I talked about Spider-Man 2099. And then there's Spider-Man, right? And I think about the cast. I think about Hollywood in general. I'm quite outspoken against the darkness and the evil that may take place there. But that doesn't mean I'm against everybody. I'm against the bad or the good. There are amazing, beautiful people in that industry. And I like to think about the Spider-Man cast. I've mentioned Tom Holland and Zendaya here and there on my social media, whatever. And I've mentioned a little bit about how in one video I talked about celebrity crushes. So I mentioned Austin Butler, Timothée Chalamet, celebrity crushes of mine. A couple other people. Then I mentioned these two, Zendaya, Tom. I think I'm very of the times, as much as I try to purge, it's like I'm just like everybody else. You have a crush on that person, I do too, And so, yeah, they look very beautiful. Now I've seen the buzz. I'm on Instagram a lot. I see the buzz, and I see the different videos of them talking and doing interviews, like clips only. And the fans are hilarious. They'll do their little, fun videos, their reactions and everything. But what I can't stop thinking about is how often we put these people in a box. We box them up. They're not allowed to be individuals outside of Hollywood. We're so good at placing Hollywood on them because obviously it's natural because they are of Hollywood. But it's sad because I think about what if any of them, even like the other celebrity crushes I mentioned, what if they left Hollywood? What if they didn't want to be a part of Hollywood anymore? What if they did other things besides Hollywood? How would we react? And I feel sorry for the couple because as beautiful as they are, they're both gorgeous. They're both gorgeous people. Zendaya with her angel dress for the Odyssey was ridiculously beautiful. I was like, whoa, wow, gorgeous, beautiful lady, or queen. And then of course Tom is very gorgeous and whatever. They're both are. I like to think, what was it? The one I always mention is the Bureau challenge. It was just the fans' reactions for me. It was so funny on TikTok. It was the ice bucket. Not ice bucket, but he was in water and he did the interview and then he came out and you can see his six packs and everybody was just like, oh my God, And so I'm like, yeah, that's the girl's man. I mean, that's her man. She can get her man anytime, that's him. And so, but it was just so funny reading their reactions. And so, yeah, they're both beautiful people. And of course, our reaction, I'm like, oh my God, girl, yeah, get him, girl. And so I'm the same way too. When she comes out and she looks amazing, like the shirt, I don't forget the shirt dress. The one where she was wearing a dress dedicated to Cher, and she was on the stage somewhere at an award show. I'm so tired saying this, but I'm trying my best to remember. I don't forget her beauty. And I was like, wow, she's so beautiful. Can I marry her? Like, skip him. Can I marry her? Can I marry her? But she was really beautiful. But I feel really bad because it's like they're both, like, with what happens to a lot of like couples there, they're placed in a box. Like, they can't be individuals outside of Hollywood. They're and I'm pretty sure it's exhausting. And I have a series dedicated to really showcasing the horror of fame. It's a horror film. It's a horror series. It's called HH Expo, and I'll release details on it. I've already have, but I took it back because I wanted to keep it safe. But it really is about showcasing the dark sides of fame in a way that's like dealing with horror. And so I observed this. I'm like, man, they can't, this poor couple, like, they don't have privacy. And I have a part to play too with that. It's like they don't have privacy. They can't really be free like that. And so, like, I talk about not putting ourselves in a box. We shouldn't do that. We shouldn't put ourselves in a box that is unrealistic. But we do this with them because they're Hollywood. But at the same time, they're just human. So if ever they wanted to leave or depart, or let's say if they broke up, I know people would be like, what? What if they did break up? How would you react? And the thing is that there's a lot of people that would make it about themselves rather than them. That's between them. If they wanted to separate, that would be between those two, And I feel bad because that's how Brad and Angelina were. Like, they were Hollywood's leading couple. They couldn't do no wrong. And then when they broke up, it was like, what? And it's like, people break up all the time, like, people get together and people break up. It's very natural, like, there should be no shame for that. No shame shown, because people are people. People evolve, people grow. And just because some people break up doesn't mean it's the end. It's like some people break up and become friends. I remember I'd seen some people in the past, like, we were dating, but I couldn't do it with them romantically. But we became good friends, And so just recognizing that you don't want to put yourself in a box that's harmful. We think about these celebrities, right? As outspoken as I am about them, we think about these celebrities and how we put them in boxes, right? We put them in unfair boxes, but they're just human. And you are too. You are too. I mean, imagine if you were famous. I wouldn't want that for you. I wouldn't want you to feel, confined and, restricted. But anyway, there can be a new beginning for you. There can be a new beginning after this broken trial, or this broken trial, this trial that feels like you're broken in. And don't limit yourself. Don't let anybody limit you either. You're very powerful. If you feel like anyone is stepping on you and making you feel like you can't be your own person or you can't be powerful, that's a very bad person in your life, because nobody is supposed to be small. Everybody has something to say or showcase, and you want to be around people that care enough about you to see that be a reality. So don't put yourself in a box and don't limit yourself. You are beautiful, you are powerful, and you're very special. So anyway, I think I've said a lot, and I know that I didn't mean to sound like a weirdo mentioning, the celebrities and whatnot. I just feel like, mentioning them, like, I'm not against them. Any of the celebrities that I mentioned just now, I'm not against them. I feel bad for them, especially if they're good. I feel very bad for them, because there's just so much pressure that may be over them. They have to deal with regular things in life, regular problems in life, but then also added on pressure from the world and fame. And my heart goes out to them. I really hope that they're safe. Um, I hope that they're okay, because I know that Hollywood has predators in it, and I worry about, the good celebrities. I've worried about Zendaya and Tom. Tom spoke out against Hollywood years ago. People, if you remember that, he spoke out against Hollywood, and that's very noble to do in an environment like that. It's very noble to do. And please don't be surprised. I know people are like, what's he going to do next? Like I've read comments like, what is he doing? Da, 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 da. All you do is Spider-Man. And it's like, do you not remember what happened to Cat Williams or Rose McGowan when they spoke out like that? If you're somebody that is outspoken like this, there's certain people that I believe and we've seen, that just don't want to mess with you anymore because, you spoke out against Hollywood, so no way, And so it's like, don't be surprised if that's probably what's happened, because I'd like to think that is what happened, is after he said that, there might have been people that saw that and were like, well, we can't work with him because he's just saying too much or he's talking too much. And that makes me feel sad, because you have these good people in Hollywood, like I mentioned, Cat Williams and Rose McGowan and so many more, Terrence Howard, that talk like that, and then they get blackballed, or they get like ostracized, or they get even pressured into understanding that you don't do this, if you talk like this, you can't have a career, And my heart goes out to them. The beautiful thing about this whole thing is Hollywood is changing. We have YouTubers making a success and a rise now. Who would have ever thought that? We have social media. Like, you don't need Hollywood to make an amazing film. This was the case with the Backrooms creator. Kane, I forgot his last name. He made the Backrooms, and he became famous from that, and it was doing really good. We have TikTok, we have AI. So, as much as we might worry for these people, I think they'll be okay because of the major changes that I think might take place within the film industry. It's like we're in a position where a lot of us can be doing our own things and find success within those things. We don't need Hollywood to feel validated and to even be the epitome of success. Natalie Portman mentioned something along these lines. She kind of emphasized that, there's this new technology that makes it possible for people to get out and really become big. And that's really what we're seeing. I see this all the time on my film platform. I follow film pages and artists that are doing things that are way beyond Hollywood. Like they look amazing, Film channels that are really, they're just so independent. Like, they're not Hollywood. And I also like seeing other celebrities that, they're trying to come away from the Hollywood machine, and they're doing their own thing. Like Kristen Stewart, she made her own film, and she talked about the things that she had to put up with as an actress in Hollywood, and how liberating it felt for her to direct her first film and to put in stuff that she felt right? So there's all these opportunities that are out there. It's like, you don't need the Hollywood machine. You have your gifts, you have these open doors that are there, but you just have to look, right? You have to just see that they're there. And that's kind of how I am with my vampire series. It's like, it doesn't need Hollywood. I mean, I'd like people from Hollywood to be a part, the nice people, the good people. But at the same time, we have amazing people in Chicago, and I have myself, and so there's all these unique factors and circumstances I have to make it amazing, And so, just kind of, I'm encouraging you to think big, not small, concerning your gifts and talents. It's the same with the music community. And I'm telling you, on YouTube, there are all these artists that I found that some not big, some small, not mainstream. They're both groups. They're not in mainstream, but they're so talented. And my film platform is geared on showcasing this talent. So anyway, I've said a lot, but be sure to check out my affiliations through my personal website, my blogs, The vlogs. You can sit down and chat with me. Sit down and listen. My music, and then my mental health side, which is so behind. And then other things, and then enjoy Spider-Man, the Spider-Man film that comes out Friday. I want to go Saturday because I work Friday. I have to work. I got a new client. I'm a caregiver. I got a new client, and I have to do some traveling for them, and I have to come home. And I'm thinking of going to maybe the evening for Saturday or Friday if I'm going evening, but Saturday, maybe Saturday morning or whatever. But we'll see. But thank you so much for watching. More to come. I hope you guys can take care of yourselves. Be safe. I will say we are in a war, the USA. So just be open, just being mindful of the news. That sounds very cryptic or whatever, but it's true. I mean, come on. We got to think this way. And then with all the other stuff, be careful. We got that stomach virus that's really spreading. I saw a news report on that, so be careful. And in general, just stay safe. Be very kind to other people and your loved ones. And yeah, thank you. Bye-bye.